Rebbe, Torah Or Page, middle of a Chanukah Maamar, page Lamed Daled. Okay, we're going to start the first column of Lamed Daled, 2, 4, 6 lines in the top of the page. Okay, the Rebbe is explaining the difference between the Shiva Reim and the Shmein and the Sichei Adam, between the 7 shepherds that internalize the level of teaching, and therefore it's the level of internal level of godliness. The Sichei Adam, like we said, it's another interesting thing. Shepherds cause the animals to eat, so they internalize. Their whole inyan is to internalize the food for the animals. Anointed people, you don't anoint inside, you anoint externally. So therefore, the Shmein and the Sichei Adam at the level of the encompassing level, and therefore, in that respect, is greater than the internal level because it's a much greater level. Like the concept of serving a scholar, the Gemara says, is greater than learning from the scholar, and so on. So he says, "L'chein ma'asher ki yaveh, v'akimenu elav shiva reim shmein and the Sichei Adam." Therefore, the pasuk says about the 7 shepherds and the 8 anointed ones. Hamdurayim, the shepherds, like we said, internally. But therefore, to many different levels, when it keeps coming down, in other words, like this, in order to come internal, you have to limit it. So once it keeps limiting, it can keep all the way going down until it becomes evil. Like the fingernails. Like Avram Shiatzimen, not like Avram that had Yishmael. Okay, so he says like this. Oh, you know, we also need from the 8 anointed ones, which is a level of Makifim. The encompassing level, okay, this we're up to now. So he said, that's the whole concept of Torah Gemilas Chasadim. Shaydei Torah. What's the difference between Torah? You know the pillars, right? There's Torah and the Gemilas Chasadim. Why do you need both? No, why are there 3 pillars for the world? Why can't you have one? He says the difference is like this. Aidei Torah is the level of Mazain, which is a level of Reim, of the level of shepherds. Right? That's the internalizing food. Aidei Gemilas Chasadim. Nimshel Bechinas Lavosha Makif. But Gemilas Chasadim is mitzvahs. Mitzvahs are garments. Mitzvahs are encompassing level. Shadei Bechinas Hamshacha. Aidei Nesichei Adam. Through the 7 anointed ones, and like we learned yesterday, Gedele Shimusha, serving the scholar, which seemingly is an external level. It's even greater than learning from the scholar. So Chassidus, it's said simply because then you see the way the scholar lives, so you see the way he brings down Torah into life. But the Chassidus explained because one makif and one's pnimi. And makif is higher than pnimi. We find another difference between shepherds and the Sichei Adam. Now remember, the Rebbe said before, what's the Sichei Adam? Not necessarily scholars, but one that serves the scholars. He said, like we find like this. We find Rabbi Yechon and Zakkai, Shayasar Torah. Rabbi Yechon and Zakkai, the Gemara calls the officer of Torah, Hamalame Torah Yisrael, that taught. The Gemara says about Rabbi Yechon and Zakkai, he lived 120 years. 40 years he learned, 40 years he taught, 40 years he did business. Not in that order, by the way. So he taught and learned for 80 years. Nevertheless, ask mercy for me. The Gemara tells a story like this. Rabbi Yechon ben Zakkai's daughter got sick. So Rabbi Yechon ben Zakkai sent a student to Rabbi Chanina ben Deisa to daven for him, for his daughter. So his wife said to him, why are he's your student, you're much greater than him in learning, why are you sending somebody to Rabbi Chanina ben Deisa to pray for you? So Rabbi Yechon ben Zakkai said, the Gemara says, I am like an officer in the presence of the king, and he's like a servant in the presence of the king, which we learned many times. What does this mean simply? If you could be, let's just use political terms. You could be a senator, a congressman, which is an officer, You can't go into the president whenever you want. You have to make an appointment. It's not so simple. The janitor that cleans the custodian engineer, that cleans the office, or the secretary, they go in whenever they want. So l'chayra, who's greater? There's no question the senator is greater than the servant. Nevertheless, who has more accessibility to the king? The servant. The Rabbi Zakai said, yeah, I'm the officer, he's the servant, but he is more accessible to Hashem than I am, and therefore go down. So it's interesting. Rabbi Chanina ben Deisa, by the way, there's nothing, I don't think ever, in the questions, I don't think ever, is there any halacha mentioned in his name. But he was a miracle worker. So he wasn't necessarily from the big scholars, but he was greater in that respect. So he says, Vim Kozer, Amel Reb Chanina ben Deisa, Bakay Shirav Shetfilasa Gedela Mishal Yosef Harbe Mishalei, and it says Shomale, and he told his wife Rabbi Yechon Zakai, said to his wife the following: Omali Atich Rabbi Yechon Zakai, if Rabbi Yechon Zakai would bang his head a whole day, Hashem would never answer his prayers. But and yet Reb Chanina ben Deisa leNimsa Sheimalamed Teira. And he says, Al derech Rabbi Yechon Zakai, v'lei nimtza mishmei dinim b'Mishnah. You never find Rabbi Chanina ben Deisa in Mishnah. So obviously, what was his greatness? Gemilas Chasadim. The level of Gadol Shimusha Yosef Milamuda. So therefore, you have the Shiva Rayim, which is Torah, which is like Rabbi Yechon ben Zakai, and the Shmein and the Sichei Adam is like Rabbi Chanina ben Deisa.
He's mentioned in the Pirkei Avos. But he's not teaching halakha. I mean, he's mentioned as something great about him.
Yeah.
Or something.
But he's not b'chlal. No halachas are mentioned in his name.
But what does that mean? I mean, it's a nice, cute mashal that he's a sar, he's an eved.
It's not a cute mashal. It's not cute.
He's a tzaddik gomer. He's not.
Yeah, but he wasn't learned. He wasn't learned like the other people.
So in terms of learning,
that's what he's saying. The Raya is a level of learning, internalizing the Torah, Pneumius, and he is a level of Makiv, but that Makiv is greater. In other words, in order to do miracles, Makifim does more miracles than Pneumius.
So who's the Raya, who's the Nesiche?
Rabbi Yechon Zakai is the Raya, Rabbi Chanina ben Deisa is the Nesiche. V'zeh derech hefesh. Shebein Raya and Nesichim, like he said before, Ki Rabbi Yechon ben Zakai hayarei mefanis Yisrael kamei Moshe Rabbeinu. Because the Gemara says that Rabbi Yechon ben Zakai lived 120 years like Moshe. Moshe, until he was 40, was like in Midyan and all that, and then he learned and he taught or whatever. So the Gemara says Rabbi Chanina ben Deisa lo hayabay b'china zu. He didn't have this level of learning and teaching, but hayat tzadik tamim b'lishum deifi. Deifi means without any question of a doubt. He was a complete tzaddik. Until the Gemara says, the Gemara says, Rabbi Chanina ben Deisa was extremely, extremely poor. To the extent, the famous stories in the Gemara, he didn't even have enough money for oil, and he told his daughter, he was very, very poor. The Gemara says, the world was created for Chanina Beni. The whole world was created for Chanina ben Deisa. The Gemara is explaining, but Chanina Beni, and Chanina Beni eats boxer from week to week. He had no money. So the Gemara is saying the whole world is in his merit, and was poor. Yeah. Well, you mekab men and shamas Yisrael darkei aveda v'chassidus al derech gedulo shimusha v'tvilasa hayim nishmas Yosef Rabbi Yechon ben Zakai. So in other words, now the Rebbe is just explaining, after he explained the difference between the Shiva Rayim and the Shmein and the Sichei Adam, like he said we learned the other 2 days. So now the Rebbe gives a mashal, there's the difference between Rabbi Yechon ben Zakai and Chanina ben Deisa. So there's an Emaila of the Raya Yisrael, the Shiva Rayim, which is the corresponding with the Menei and the Beis HaMikdash, which was 7. But Sheikh Chanukah is Shmein and the Sichei Adam, that's the level of 8. V'chein namavi kimein olav shivarei m'shemein in nesichei adam. Sheb'chein es nesichei adam mel yes and neged b'chinas ashur. Therefore, The pasuk is saying that the Shmeina Nesichei Adam accomplished more against Ashur because they had to win the battle. So Makifim is stronger than Pnimius. So therefore the Nesichei Adam won the battle, not the Shmeina Shivarayim.
Is one of them Evid and Nesichei Adam Evid?
That marshal of Evid, yeah. Like the Alter Rebbe said before, on top of the Gadol Shemushi, Yesim Lemuda. V'masham Meshich and Mechinas Seviv Kol Alma. V'chein Tfilas Rebbe Chanina Mendesa. Lahapech HaTeva. To transform nature like vinegar to burn and all, and sick people to get healthy. Shayadei Amshach. By the way, it was interesting. When Rebbe Chanina Mendesa, the Gemara says in Brachos, Rebbe Chanina Mendesa, and people came to him to daven, he would tell them a little while later if the person was going to live or die. He would right away, when they came to daven, a little while later, he said to them whether the guy's going to live or die. So the Gemara said, the Gemara asked him, how do you know? So the Gemara says, in tefillah should go to bifi. If the tefillah goes well, I know the person is going to live. If it's not going so well, there's like whatever glitches in the tefillah, then I know the person's not going to live. But Rabbi Chanina was a super great, but in learning, he wasn't from the Shiva Rayim, or any Rayim. Okay, now this was officially a Chanukah Maamar, if you remember. Right? So the Rebbe started okay. The whole thing was with the Chanukah licht, right? So now he's finally going back to Chanukah. This is the concept of Neiros Chanukah. How were they able to purify all the oil of the Heichol mitzat Tagberes Chochma de Klipa? Chassidus explains, and Kabbalah explains, Shemen is Chochma. Okay, Shemen is Chochma. Now the fact that the Greeks were metama all the oil in the Beis Hamikdash, that means they represented Tamei is the level of Chochma of Klipa. So they had this powerful level of Chochma of the Klipa. Therefore, they wanted to make the Jews forget Torah, and like we said, Torah Secha, they wanted to impurify Torah. Therefore, how do you undo it? If Chochma got blemished, or Tamei, in order to undo that, you can't do it in the Chochma, because Chochma is ruined already. Like the Alter Rebbe all over the place. You have to, like tshuva, you can't go to the level of the sin and do tshuva, because then the sin's blemished. You have to go to a level higher. So therefore, how do they undo the tumah of Chochma, which is Pnimius? They had to go to the Makif level. Which was sealed with the seal of the high priest, which is the level of Rav Chesed. Not only regular Chesed, but the Rav Chesed. Where is this parentheses end? Oh, it ends at the end of the paragraph. Okay, let's go to the next top of the page. Okay, so he says, now we'll understand the Gemara. Okay, so the Gemara, the Alter Rebbe at the beginning of the Maamar began the Maamar with this argument between Bisham and Beis Hillel. But the Gemara says the mitzvah is one candle per household per night. Mahadran is one candle every person, one candle per night for every person. Mahadran and a Mahadran. Beis Shammai says 876 down, and Beis Hillel goes up. And he says, why does Beis Shammai say what they say? The Yalef Mipari Achad. They learned it out from the bulls of Sukkot. Okay, Yom Rishon Makriv Yud Gimel. On the first day of Sukkot, they brought 13 bulls. Second day, 12, 11, going down. And Beis Hillel Leimim Yom Rishon Madak Echad Mikam Ve'elach Meisa Ve'elach. But Beis Hillel says Ma'alim B'Kodesh, and therefore you keep going up. But that was the argument of Bisham Beis Hillel. So B'chlal, the Alter Rebbe alludes to it, but a lot of the Rebbe's Maamar asks, like, what's the connection between Chanukah and the bulls, and not the Chicago Bulls? I mean, like the what? I'm educated. What do you think? What's the connection between because the bulls of Sukkot, the korbanos of Sukkot go down, so therefore Chanukah go down? I mean, like, Come on, what's the connection? So Chassidus explains the connection. Here the Alter Rebbe alludes to it. Kihine inyan Party Achag, the whole concept of the Party Achag is Gamkim Hashachas Makifim Al Yainim, is bringing down the Makifim of above. Why? Ki Sukkis is a Galus of Makifim. What Sukkis? The Sukkah is a Makif level, right? It's all Makifim. And then you have Lulav and Esrik, which is again bringing the Makifim into Premius. That's why you do Lulav and Sukkah and Esrik in the Sukkah. But the same thing, the Karbonis. Is Galus of Makifim, like we say in Halal. Ki Gover Aleinu Chazdei Vaidam Shochazu. And by bringing down the level of Makifim, Mizbadim Gamkin or Ayin Sodim. Altogether in Sukkot, there was the 13, 12, 70, corresponding with the 70 nations. That's why the pasuk says, Hallelujah Hashem Kol Goyim, because the Gemara says, if the Goyim would know what the Beis Hamikdash did for them, not only they wouldn't destroy it, but they would have guards the whole time guarding it. Tilpil, why? Because the Ayin Sodim represent evil. All the 70 nations of evil. If you want to conquer evil, you have to be mamshich on the level of Makifim. Now, the Party Achag of Sukkot are bringing down the level of Makifim into 70 levels of Kedusha to conquer the 70 levels of evil. But where do you get that koyach from the Makifim level of Sukkot? And therefore it says, Hashem Kol Goyim Ki Gover Aleinu Chaste. And therefore the Alter Rebbe explained, why did it start with 13 bulls? The first day was 13 bulls. That's Yud Gimel Midas Sarachmi. Now what's the level of Yud Gimel? We learned all the Maimarim are above. That's the level of Arachampin, right? Hashem Korach, that level of Makifim. And therefore that can fix sins. How can you get kapara from Hashem Korach and V'chanun? That's what Hashem said after the Egel when he forgave Moshe Rabbeinu the Yidden on Yom Kippur. So what did he say? Hashem Korach and V'chanun. But that's the level of Makifim. That level of Makifim is Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim. Therefore, Sukkot begins with the level of the 13 bulls, which corresponds with the level of Makifim. And therefore it keeps going down. Why does it go down? There is a constant in Kedusha going up. Why do the bulls go down? He says, He says very simple. The first day you already refined a lot. So the next day there's less to refine. Less to refine, less to refine. So therefore it goes down. Therefore you don't need it like the first day. And that's what Beis Shammai says. Beis Shammai says Chanukah is a level of the oil and the kain, the pach of the kain gadol, which is the level of Makifim. So now the first day you do bitter of 8, and then 7, and then 6, because the first day you already elevated 8. You push away the klipa. Chanukah is bechinas milchama, but Chanukah is through milchama. They have to fight. Because the voni b'shem Hashem ki ameil amaynu gam ki na makifim the night after. That's why it says it's better to believe in God, which again is a level of them believing in men. Because that's also, Amun is also the level of Makifim.
So how come by Sukkot we go down? Because we want to decrease the light that goes to them? And by Chanukah
not
we want to
decrease the light. You already refined them. If you refined 8, out of the 70, there's less to refine. The Sukkot liyos.
And over here is the milchamos.
One second, he's not done. The Sukkot liyos midaraisa ein aidei milchama. It's not through milchama. In other words, like this. By Sukkot, because it's biblical, it's a stronger koyach. So therefore, the victory doesn't have to be with a battle. Chanukah had to be with the battle to bring down the Makifim level. By Sukkot, you bring down the Makifim level without a battle because it's Minatayra. Okay.